Hello everyone, welcome back to another session with me on Zenbuttons. We have been running this series and we have already done couple of tiles by now, Zenbuttons, right? About 5 of them. So thanks for all your comments and suggestions and feedback. Let us now proceed to another Zen button today, right? So I have done some groundwork already on the tile. As I showed you, I used the markers to find the center, and then I have drawn some concentric circles, which you can do either freehand or use the compass, right? Since it is inspired art, you might use the compass. However, it is not advised as far as Zentangle is concerned. Yeah. So now we will start tangling, or we can first do some bit of exercise here. So what I'm going to do here is make some sections like these, right? 2 lines, a little narrow at the beginning and then going a little wider towards the end, right? So I'm going to make about 3-4 of them, and probably one more like this. Yeah, you might make one more here also. So entirely up to you, how many sections do you want to do. Yeah, so now what I'm going to do is use these sections as folds, right? So we will draw the usual Zen button, but we will shade these sections in a way that they are folds, right? So instead of drawing the line straight, I'm going to give a slight curve to the grid. So let us first pen the grid. So I have an 08 here, right? So starting with the first one, I'm going to give a slight curve here. Again go to the next, give a slight curve here, right? So wherever I have drawn those sections, I'm going to give a slight curve like this. Yeah, again drawing the second. So I'm using a bolder nib here. So I'm penning the string here. You may not, but since I intend to give this curve, so I'm penning the string, right? Again, the size of the curve kind of increasing. Right, so we'll draw the button in the usual way, just that it will have some curves. Yeah, you can also add one last one like this. Right, so done with that exercise. Now let us start tangling. So I'm going to insert a nice diva dance flower, or you can also add a Bronx chair flower, whatever you feel like, right? So let us start. This section I'm going to keep black and white, and then so started with a small spiral and then going to keep adding auras with a hump. Yeah, the diva dance flower, rock and roll. Name of the tangle is diva dance rock and roll. Yeah, so slowly insert that tangle in the center. So I have done an entire series on diva dance, various version of diva dance, how you can use it differently. So you might want to refer to the videos for a better understanding of the tangle. But it is primarily aura based. As you can see, I am adding some weight here and there and adding auras, right? Again I'll add some weight. Again I'll continue to add aura. Again go add some weight. Again continue to add aura. Right, so another classic example of what auras can do. Right, so you are forming a flower by just adding some weights and humps in between and auraing the shape. Yeah, so take your time and fill up the center space with this beautiful tangle. So you can also use a bronze chair flower version here. It will look really nice when shaded, right? Maybe we will try it in our last session, right? So just going to finish. Just keep going the way you are. Keep adding the auras. Yeah, I think we are done. Yeah, so center is the flower. Now moving on to the next level, right? So I'm just going to now add tangles in the usual way, no difference, just that while we are shading it will be a little different. Yeah, so let's divide it into sections. Let's see which. So let us do one thing today. I'm going to create all triangular sections today. Yeah, so let's use triangular fragments today. We have used circles, we have used squares, we have not really explored triangular fragments, so let's do that today. Right, so I have drawn a triangular grid. So let's start with the first. So we have not added the color. I have, as usual, forgotten to add the color. So let's add color first and then we can tangle over it. So I have some pastel shades here, light shades of green and light blue. Right, so I'm just going to add my color first. You can comfortably do without color. Please go ahead. Erase the pencil lines if possible, because the colors are light, so they are showing under the color also. So would be a nice idea to erase it. They were just for reference. Yeah. Yeah. So let us now add some nice colors. Yeah, so the first layer, moving on to the second, it says ice green, Right, so I'm just going to add the color. Just adding colors. This is peacock green. Yeah, it says peacock green. So just choose a palette of your choice. No hard and fast rule. If you want to repeat the first one that we used, the warm colors, you can do that also. Whatever is easily comfortably available with you. Just try to stick either warm or cold palette. Don't mix bright colors and soft colors ideally, but you can do if you want it very eye-catching and vibrant. Yeah, so done with that, let us now start to tangle. So I'm first going to start with a simple fragment like this. Divide the triangle and then add auras in each of the section. Yeah, you can always add some weight at the turning points like this. Yeah, again moving on to the next. Looks something like circus. Tangle we already learned. Yeah, simple line work, auras. So I'm going to do the same exercise for all. Keep moving your tile. Yeah, so I'm almost finishing here, right? So one section we have done, one section of the triangle. The other section, up to you which fragment you want to add. Let us keep it a little simple. So I'm just going to add another fragment like this. So it is basically muka or fescue coming from 3 directions. Yeah, I hope it is clear. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is add one fescue like this, add another one like this, and the third one like this. Yeah, so it looks nice and delicate. All turning towards the right and ideally touching each other. Right, so you may also draw something like crossing each other, but this fragment is like touching each other softly. Right, so nice and beautiful use of fescue or the simpler version of mocha, whatever you want to call it. Right, so basically fescue is turning towards the right and all going till the center and then turning. Yeah, so we are done with the second fragment. Now again we'll go with something in a triangle since we have not done it till now. So let us divide our section into triangles again. So it's okay, you need not be too concerned since it is in a circle. So some will be big, some will be small, that's okay. Don't be worried about that. Yeah, so we have done that. Now let us move on to another fragment. So what I'm going to do is first draw a curve, add a moon, and then just aura. The moon on both sides, like this and like this, right? So I'm going to give the reference number of all these fragments. Right now let us concentrate on how to draw it. Yeah, so you can always, if you have the primer, you can refer it there also. So I just drew a curve or a C shape, drew a moon under it, and then I'm going to add auras on both sides. Right, so slowly take your time and do that for every other triangle. Yeah, curve, moon, aura, and aura above. Right, so I'll do this throughout. I'm on the last one now, adding auras to the lower moon and then adding auras over the C shape like this. Yeah. So now moving on to the next section. Again we can pick up a fragment of our choice or whatever you want to. So I'm going to just add printum . However, I'm not going to go till the end. Instead we'll add some lines or probably ink it. Yeah. So stop where the printum touches all the three sides, and then we can do something with the rest of the space. Yeah. So printums is one of the first few tangles taught in any Zentangle lesson, beginner's workshop. It has a nice flow, spiral, generally drawn anti-clockwise. But if you're not comfortable drawing it that way, you can always draw it clockwise also. It is my go-to tangle. I use it very often as a filler. Right? So now what I'm going to do is add some corners like this. Yeah, so I'm leaving some gap. I'm not covering or coloring the entire thing. Instead adding some corners and then inking the rest like this. Yeah, so if you want, you can just extend your printums a little more and then add the corner, whatever you like. Yeah, so as I keep mentioning, small bits of inking always looks nice, so try find some small opportunities to ink here and there. Yeah, so I'm just going to do this exercise where you think the spaces are more, you can add probably one more layer and then ink the rest. Yeah, so I'm inking the last one now. Yeah, so we are done. So now is the last section. Again I will add a triangular grid. In this section we will do a tangle called nace that we have already learned. It's not a fragment, it's basically a tangle which is drawn in this grid. Right, so we will insert that tangle here. Right, so once we have done with the grid, now let us add an aura inside each of the triangles from both sides. Right, so this triangle here, this triangle here. Right, so I'm just going to add auras. Take your time. So tangle nace, one side is totally inked and the other side has something like mist, but I'm not going to ink it. Instead I'm going to add some small orbs. Right, or you can add some other tangle also. Just going to do this exercise on the other side also. Right, that is this side. Right, so I'm done with that exercise. So one side, choose a size or side of your choice. Just add these crinky lines, just like we draw the tangle mist. Soft, crinky, zigzag, curly lines. Right, they are pretty delicate looking. Yeah, so I'm going to add that throughout in one part of my section, this side of the triangles. I'm just going to insert this crinky mist like line. Mist is again a tangle. Yeah, so just going to do this exercise throughout. Take your time. And the other side of the tangle is generally inked, right? So since we don't want to ink too much, we already have inks there, right? So either you can create a smaller section in it and ink that, anything you want to do, right? So let us insert a small flower instead. Right, so I'm just going to add a nice flower and ink just the small spaces left after drawing the flower, right? So I'll just show you. Yeah, so like this, and then one petal, two petal, three petal, whatever the spaces you have, and then just ink the small little spaces left. Yeah, yeah. So I'll just continue like this. Yeah, so I think you got a hang of it. So I'm just going to continue drawing these flowers. Almost finish on the last section now. Adding the same flowers, petals to vase. Yeah, so we are done with our tangling, right? So let us now move on to shading. So first thing that I'm going to do is highlight those spaces where there are curls, right? So this is one space where I have inserted curls, right? So I'm just going to add some thick graphite on these lines. Yeah, again, where is the next curl? It's here. Yeah, so these are the spaces where I'm going to add some thick dark graphite to highlight the curl. Yeah, again the fourth one is here. Again the fifth one is here. Yeah, so these are the 5 places where we have added that curl. So let us blend those first. Right, so I'm just going to darken the sides of the curl like this. We'll see if we want to use the brush pen. Yeah, again darkening the side of the curl. Make sure you don't add anything in the center. So this is another way of adding a little more zen to your Zen button. Yeah, it already has a lot of zen because of its interesting and beautiful string. But small little things that you can do to enhance its look a little more. Yeah. And the last one. So here is the curl. Yeah. 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 So the next thing is to highlight the spaces where there is no graphite, starting with the flower. Right, and moving on to this strand, moving on to the curl. Yeah. Yeah, so we have highlighted it, the curls. You can always add a little more darkness to the two sides, re-emphasize the pencil a little more so that the curls pop up. They have already, but you can add little more to the sides. Yeah, so once we are done that, now you can add whatever space is left. Now you can add some graphite in the in-between spaces if there is space, otherwise just leave it. Yeah. Yeah, just softly blend. So the rest of the shading remains the same. We may like to redo it with the gray watercolor pencil that we were using, right? So we'll explore that also. Again, at the ends, just that we have highlighted few sections of the button by shading it a little differently. Yeah, that's the only thing. Again, blend, but don't blend too much. Make sure you don't touch the white. The highlight is important. Right, and finally the last one. So shading makes a lot of difference. So spend enough time on shading your tile once you have tangled. Generally, you don't feel like, if you're a beginner, you want to spend more time on tangling and just quickly do the finish off with the shading. But as you practice more and more, you'll realize that the main fun part is the shading, which gives life to your tangles. Yeah, they suddenly pop up, they start to breathe. So give that time. Look for opportunities to shade differently. Right? So I'm now going to pick up my gray watercolor. Yeah. And redo the outer edges as I have done always in all the sessions. Just softly touch the outer edge. Just don't add on anything on the chalk. The chalk is a highlight, you don't want it gray. Yeah, then on the inside, soft touch. You can do it simultaneously for both the ends. Just touch it a little below also, and you can do that for both sides of the border. Yeah, and coming to the next level, again you can do it in such a way that you touch both sides of the border. And finally the inside, just a touch around your diva dance. Yeah, that's about it. Re-emphasize the chalk. Make sure it goes till the end. Yeah. Now if you want, you can add some in the center. Not very sure if it will show. Yeah, at times it doesn't work too well on color. Yeah, so just add that shimmer to the rings, whatever is visible from in between the folds. Going to the next. Right, so you need to press hard. I am pushing my chalk pretty hard. And if something is visible here, you can add that also. To the flower we have already done. Yeah. Yeah. So use a different Totlon and just blend so that it doesn't look patchy. This merges with the colors and shows like a soft highlight. Yeah, and we are done, right? So that's our Zen button for today. I'm now going to close my tile, place my chop, right, and then sign and date it. Right, so this is our Zen button for today, and I'll meet you again with the last session on Zen button series, right? Hope you're enjoying. Till then, have a good time, stay safe, bye bye.